Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and indeed children of all ages, welcome to this next edition of NutraNews. NutraNews, where honestly you just never know what we're going to come at with you next. Except for, looks like I gotta clean my glasses. Pardon me, as I do clean my glasses and rub my nose. I'm coming at you with a quick update and a little bit of a kind of touching base on something else, as it is that time of year again. And yeah, let's get right into it. So the update, last I left you was I was talking a little bit post-op. I was just fresh out of a surgery on my back. It was addressing a rib injury that I had as a result of a professional wrestling injury that I sustained in 2012. And, the surgery was successful to a degree. It removed, quick refresher, removed bone spurs that had wrapped up my right T10 nerve and then had hooked into my 11th rib on the right side. Those bone spurs are gone. Pieces of the T10 nerve came out too, and the T10 nerve is back where it's supposed to be. Most of the posterior, backside aspect of that T10 rib is gone now, and all I'm really left with is the front piece, the side piece, and now to catch you up, I'm off of my nice pain meds they gave me, my Percocets, my Ketorolac, which is a oral version of Toradol. Toradol is a pain reliever which in the hospital is given to you as an injection. It's usually very nice and for most people works very well. Few people have any sort of allergies to it, and it's usually very nice. I'm off of those meds, and rightfully so. No one should be on them for too long. Ketorolac can really beat up on your liver and your kidneys, and Percocets being a pretty strong form of opioids, and nobody should be on those for too long. My brain certainly thinks that I should be, but no one should be on opioids for too long. Those are not the answer. They do not treat your pain, they only mask it, my friends. And once you're off of those, and if you're on them for way too long, there are way too many tragic stories. You may be affected by those tragic stories. There are far too many people who are affected by those, and we see those in the news time and time again, all the time. People who are overdosing on, their prescribed opioids, and people who overdose and become hooked on, street forms of heroin. And certainly here at NutraNews, our hearts go out to those people. Too many incidences of broken homes, broken families, people whose lives are tortured by getting hooked onto those drugs. And it's really, to say it's unfortunate is a miss. Well, I don't know the word. There just aren't words. It breaks people, and it's sad. It's really sad, and it's unfortunate. And these people shouldn't be harshly punished. Their lives are tortured, and they're just they're chasing a high, but they're doing it to perhaps treat pain that is as substantial as the pain that I was going through, the pain that I am going through, and maybe pain that's even worse than what I was going through, or whatever it is that they're trying to mask. It's they shouldn't be punished for that. We should be trying to help them. But anyway, I digress. But know that I feel for those people, and I'm lucky that I'm not one of them. I'm really lucky. I could have easily been. There was a time when I was getting prescribed tons of those meds. When I had first broken my ribs, I was seeing a doctor, and more oftentimes than not, when I was seeing that primary caregiver, I was seeing his nurse practitioner, and I was getting prescribed mega buttloads of opioids, and and they were prescribed, and I was taking them, and my brain was more than happy to be on them. And I'm very lucky that I didn't become somebody who hit the streets got hooked on heroin and became one of those unfortunate cases of somebody who, overdosed behind a wheel, caused an accident of some sort, and had to have, you know, EMTs, revive me with some Narcan. I'm very lucky. And there are plenty of people who are not so lucky. And I really do feel bad for those people. And I really hope they get the help that they need and not punishment, because punishment isn't the answer. They don't deserve punishment. I truly don't believe they do. Not prison time, drug courts. Drug courts, not prison time. Thank you. Anyway, I do digress. So to bring everyone up to speed, now that I'm off those meds, I'm starting to come to grips with the reality of what's happening inside of my body and what happens to somebody who loses pieces of a T10 nerve. And for those of you who don't know what a T10 nerve does in the body, let me explain. So in our spinal cord, there is, wiring, essentially. We are like biological computers. And from the brain stem is all sorts of wiring that springs out and basically controls us. In the cervical part of the spine, nerves come out, and they're some of the most important nerves that come out in the cervical spine, and they innervate a lot of the muscles that come through our neck, and they really do a lot of the functions, for our heart, for our lungs, a lot of those things, for our shoulders, our arm function. That's just some of the basics. But there are even more nerves that keep on going down. We are, like I said, biological computers. And some more of those nerves keep coming down to the thoracic spine. And in the thoracic spine, these things come through the thoracic vertebra, and the T10 vertebra is no exception. And the T10 nerve comes out, two branches, and in addition to your sciatic nerve being one of the most important, being the nerve that is responsible for your legs function, the T10 nerve is sympathetically, and sympathetically means something in terms of a nervous function, is sympathetically responsible for the functioning of your abdominal muscle, your leg muscle, and the muscles in your feet. Both your T10 nerves, left and right, respectively. So now I'm facing a reality where for 5 years of my life, age 22 up to now age 27, my T10 nerve has been through hell. Absolute hell. For some time it was pinched, and then for some time it was wrapped up by bone spurs that hooked into my 11th rib. Not fun times for a nerve at all. And now, even though it's back in its place, now it's missing pieces of itself. Not fun times. Before this surgery, I was to a point where my leg was really losing a lot of its function. When I was doing yoga poses and such, it was violently shaking. I couldn't control it anymore. If I was doing a downward dog into a split, like raising my leg into a split, it would violently shake. If I was doing a plank, it was violently shaking. If I was in parents, like, if you're sensitive to this, plug your kids' ears, like TV 14. If I was having sex, yeah, it was violently shaking, and then it would kind of seize up. I couldn't control it. I wanted to. I really did. I wanted to will it to work, and it wouldn't. It just wouldn't do it. That's how important the T10 nerve is. Even though my sciatic nerve wasn't in any way damaged, there was no, vertebral compression, no discompression compromising the sciatic nerve. The T10 nerve being trapped within those bone spurs was enough to make me lose function of that right leg. And when my surgeon came out and told my family that he was amazed, surprised that I was standing and walking, it wasn't, at face value, that sounds like, oh, what a champion this guy is, how strong he must be to withstand such pain for so long and continue to stand and walk. That's not really all he was saying. If you really read into doctor speak and what medical terminology would tell you, what he was actually saying is that he was surprised that with what that nerve was going through, that I had not reached the status of being a paraplegic. Because with what that nerve was going through and with how much loss of control of that leg I should have had, I shouldn't have been walking. I shouldn't have been standing. I should have lost a lot of control of this leg. I really shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. And I guess maybe that is a testament to my strength. I don't know. But maybe if I hadn't gotten the treatment that I had gotten from him, maybe by the end of this year, maybe I may not have been walking anymore. And maybe my strength would have ran out. And maybe that would have been it. There's a limit to everybody's strength. And mine included. And that really could have been it. So now that I'm at where I'm at, I'm starting to realize now that, he restored the function to that leg, certainly. I'm not contesting that. This leg is functioning. It works, as far as I know. I haven't been released, to the point to be able to start working out again. Haven't been able to test it that far, but I'm able to walk. I can do that. I haven't been able to start driving again yet, so I haven't been able to operate a car or anything. I haven't been able to test everything with this leg, but I do know I can walk. So there's that. That much is a success. But I also know that this nerve hurts like hell. It hurts. Whoa, man, does it hurt. And there are some definite nerve functions, that this nerve also governs that I'm, noticing I'm having some difficulties with. This nerve also kind of governs things like, your urination. It governs some sexual functions. It does do a lot for you. This nerve doesn't just exist to just be a nerve. It doesn't just exist to tell you, to communicate pain. It has some serious function. And at the moment, it is relaying a lot of pain signals, but there is a lot of reason to hope. And like I said, the surgery did restore function to the leg to a point that I do know. I don't know all of the function that it restored because I haven't been able to test everything, but I do know that it did restore some function, and that's all I know. But I know that my journey is not over. And likewise, a lot of people's journey is not over. And so my brothers and sisters around the world who are experiencing pain from one degree to another, I don't know where you are, I don't know where you're at, I don't know why you're experiencing pain, whether it's cancer, whether it's nerve related, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's both. I know that this pain causes me mental pain just because of the things that it prevents me from doing, or the things that I used to really enjoy that it's robbed me of in my life. And wherever you are, shout out to you. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna stay strong, and we're gonna put one foot in front of the other. If you don't have the function of your feet, you're gonna put one mental foot in front of the other. We're gonna beat this thing, whatever it is. We're gonna face it every day, and because what else do we have? I don't know. What else do we have? If we can't face our pain and we can't look it in the face and say, you're not going to beat me today or tomorrow, not in a year, not in 10 years, I don't know what we got. We're going to beat it. I'm going to beat it. You're going to beat it. This cat's gonna beat it. Say hi to Bay Flakes. Yes, this cat's getting me through. The other one's taking a nap. I don't know. He's doing his own thing. But Bay Flakes is gonna beat it. Yes. And we're gonna move on to the next thing. Because what's the next thing? The next thing is daylight savings time is ending. Now, in a previous episode, and I encourage you to look it up, in a previous episode I have talked, oh yes, you like that, I have talked about daylight savings time before. And we're going to go over it again because daylight savings time can shorten your life. Yes, my friends, daylight savings time can shorten your life. It can rob you of hours of your life. But you can prevent it. You can fight it. You can fight it, my friends. There are ways that you can prevent it from taking your life away from you. And what can you do to prevent it from, taking your life away from you? Well, I'm going to tell you what that is. I'm going to tell you what you can do. You can sleep in. That's what you can do. Sleeping in actually does help you to take the edge off of daylight savings time ending and, the springing forward, the moving back, all of that. Sleeping in helps. Sleeping in is the only thing, actually, that helps. Because, essentially, whenever we move forward, we move back, gain an hour, lose an hour, our circadian rhythm is thrown off. We don't know what to do with ourselves. Our body doesn't understand why we're losing, why we're gaining. We have to take measures to basically save ourselves from the arbitrary loss and gain of time. So, essentially, whenever the clock readjusts itself for this arbitrary loss and gaining, the only thing you can do, either or, is sleep in. Take an hour and sleep in. And then in the afternoon, take yourself a little bit of a 20-minute nap. And it doesn't have to be a full-on nap. You don't have to go through the entire sleep cycle. Just kind of close your eyes, slow down your thought process, and all will kind of be well. And after a little while, your circadian rhythm will get back into its normal cycle, and you will be all the better for doing that. You will help to keep your life on track and keep the maximum amount of time that your life is supposed to have, according to your circadian rhythm and your genetics, and how long your heart has to keep on ticking. And again, there's absolutely no reason at all to have daylight savings time. There's no reason. It was invented by Benjamin Franklin as a way to maximize candlelight. It's meant to maximize candlelight. That's it. That's all it's there for, is to maximize candlelight. He thought that if we had daylight savings time, if we added an hour and then lost an hour, it would maximize candle economy. And it wasn't formally adopted by the United States as a total, standardized thing until World War I, where it became necessary to divide up the world into time zones. And after World War I, and after that was all over, and after the Treaty of Versailles was signed, the United States dropped it. Dropped it like a hot potato. It was over. No one wanted it. Everybody thought it sucked. And everybody was glad to be done with it. Then World War II happened. And then everybody was like, oh, well, it looks like we need those time zones back. I guess we'll have to adopt that daylight savings time thing again. So we did. And the world was once again divided up into those time zones. And then daylight savings time just stuck. We didn't get rid of it. We accepted it as a thing. And there are only but a handful of states that don't observe daylight savings time. And if you're in one of those states, I think there are only 3 of them. If you're in one of those 3 states that don't observe daylight savings time, then I guess I'm not talking to you directly. Continue to sleep as you will normally, and enjoy yourself. You will not be affected by this arbitrary time change. For the rest of us, do yourself a favor and just take an hour to sleep in. If you have some sort of, obligation to a religious institution of some, sort, whatever religion it is that you belong to, just, I don't know, write it off. I'm pretty sure your God will forgive you to whichever God you subscribe. I'm pretty sure your God will let you off for this one. And I'm pretty sure your God will want you healthy and alive to continue to go to whichever service that you would normally go to, or choose to go to an afternoon service of some variety, or just take a skip altogether. Take the time for yourself, and then just go back, whatever day you would usually go, because it's just not worth it to damage yourself. Stay healthy. That's the important thing. And maybe one day, I don't know, write your congressman, congresswoman, congressperson. I don't know if we must be so politically correct. Write your congressperson and beseech them to get rid of this intensely just arbitrary thing that we call daylight savings time, because nobody needs it. Like I said, it's arbitrary. I hate to keep using the same word, but just nobody needs this thing that we call daylight savings time. I live in Indiana, and it's one of those states that it's besmirched by the time zone, because in these time zones, another thing that we don't need, desperately do not need, because here in Indiana we've got a division of Central and Eastern time. I live in Evansville, where we're in Central time, but literally, quite literally, an hour away from us is Vincennes. Vincennes is in Eastern Standard Time, but they're only about an hour's drive away. But they're in Eastern Time. So right now I'm recording this, and it's roughly, I've got this on, regular time, I guess. I've got it's just about 6:05 right now. Over there, it would be 7:05. Why? If I drove over there, it's an hour's drive, it's 7:05. Why? Can someone give me a reason? Politicians, congressman or woman, if you're watching this, give me a reason. Why? Huh? Why? Why am I on the same time as Illinois? Why? Why am I on the same time as Chicago? Why am I not on the same time as Vincennes? Why am I not on the same time as Indianapolis? Why am I not on the same time as Ohio? I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. It just doesn't translate. And while we're on the subject of some sort of politics, and I'm not here to shove democratic policies down anybody's throat, I'm not here to shove Republican, conservative, liberal, I'm not here to do that exclusively, but I am here to stand for what I do feel to be what is right and wrong. And what I do feel to be wrong, and since this is a channel that I call NutraNews, and I feel like this does tie in, let's talk a little bit about the GOP/Trumponian tax bill, which destroys the ability to write off medical expenses as tax deductions. Anybody a fan of that one? I'm not. I'm not a fan of that one by any means, and here's why. Why should any of us have to suffer for that? Why should any of us have to suffer for that? That has been something that has been a tax deduction for goodness knows how long, has helped countless families in middle class tax brackets and in tax brackets of those who fall under middle class, in the poverty tax brackets And when I say poverty tax brackets, dude, I'm right there with you. I graduated from a 4-year state university with a Bachelor of Science. I count as single because I am engaged, but I'm not married yet. I count as single. I'm paying off student loans. I'm not making huge bucks. I'm still trying to make it, man. There aren't robust jobs for nutritionists or people with health and wellness degrees in this state. And even if there were, you can't really expect to make, even registered dietitians, which I am not one, because I'm a nutritionist, health and wellness, I'm not a dietitian. But even in Indiana, dietitians really can't expect to make more than $56K a year. And I'm not making $56K a year. I'm making a little bit under like $25K a year. Got it? Got it. All right? So I'm not, I'm definitely not middle class status. I'm renting a 1-bedroom apartment, bro. So we're really thinking about getting rid of medical expenses as tax deductions. That's a great idea. And the congressman for the 8th District of Indiana, the 8th Congressional District in Indiana, a physician, mind you, Dr. Larry Bouchon, thinks this is a wonderful idea to get rid of medical expenses as deductions on your taxes. So that way they fit on a postcard. Because that's what Paul Ryan's all about. They gotta fit on a postcard. You can do your taxes on a postcard. Because doing them on Tax Act or doing them with, any sort of a tax software of some sort, that's too hard apparently. Going to Walmart and having them done that way, or going to H&R Block, that's too hard. That's too difficult. Explain that one to me. That was too difficult for us Americans to do. They gotta fit on a postcard. You can do your taxes on a postcard, put it in the mail, they're done. Excuse me, I've been paying taxes for an entire year, getting them taken out of my check. I want to make sure my taxes are done right. I don't mind sitting down, planning a day, planning a couple days, making sure that my taxes are done absolutely right. Bottom to finish, absolutely right, so I get absolutely dollar for dollar everything that I am supposed to get back from the United States government, Paul Ryan. I do not mind that whatsoever. They gotta fit on a postcard. No, they do not. Fit on a postcard. Do not insult me like that. Do not insult me like that. And do not take medical expenses away as tax deductions. I will not, insults, no. Sorry. I've got to, refrain from the insults. But, God, that's just terrible. That's sinful. Every day at my job, because, I do patient registration, and pretty soon in, the next year, I'm going to start doing nutritional counseling for patients prescribed to, ADHD medication and antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. But I primarily do patient registration, right? So when I print off receipts for, be it co-pays, co-insurances, or paying off balances on patient accounts, and a lot of them are, parents who are, taking their kids to these appointments, or, people who are, they're seeing primary caregivers, they're coming to us for treatment, they're going to other places for treatment, they're taking time out of their work schedule to get these things done. And these aren't the only things they're spending money on. They're spending money on gas, spending money on maintaining their car, spending money on anything else for their house. They're spending money everywhere, and they're doing everything they can just to keep straws above the water. And Diet Coke not sponsored. Sorry. Pretty sure that'll go to the good people at Game Theorists first. I'm a small fish, and if Coca-Cola decides to sponsor anybody with Diet Coke, it'll be the people of Game Theory first. I'm not sponsored. But it is delicious. And I am hooked. And not proven to cause cancer, so don't even start. Anyway. So, they want to take that away from these people that I see just stressed to the nth degree. And I hand them these receipts. And mind you, I'm in a lot of pain. I get up from my spot and I go over to the printer, I get the receipt, and I come back to these people. It's a lot of, it takes a lot, out of me to do that time and time again. But I don't mind it. Because I know that I'm doing something good. It's a little bit of good. It's just a little bit of good, but it's something that's good. And I hand it to people and they say, I don't need a receipt. And I'm like, you deserve to take this. Because this is a medical expense. You can put this on your taxes. This is a documentation that you paid a medical expense. You can deduct this on your taxes, even though it's just a little something. You might get a little something back. You just might get something back. And even a little something is still something. You deserve it. You're going all over the place. You're spending money on everything. You deserve to get a little something. And even if you just reward yourself with your tax refund, you reward yourself with, that flat screen you've been eyeing in Best Buy, a new sound system, or you replace the tires on your car. Whatever you do with your tax refund, that's your business, but you deserve to try to get something back. Take this and use it. And Republicans want to take that away, and a physician who represents the 8th District of Indiana thinks that taking that away is a great idea. Shame. Shame on you, Dr. Larry Bouchon, a cardiosurgeon who had people on a table, broke their ribs open, performed heart surgeries on them, sewed them back up, let them go, got into the business because he wanted to repeal Obamacare because he thought that it would threaten his income as a physician. Now he wants to get rid Diet Coke burp. Now he wants to get rid of medical expenses as deductions on tax returns. Shame on you. What? Did you take the Hippocratic Oath and then walk out the door and go, what a load of crap that was. What a load of crap that oath was. I don't think I'm gonna pay any attention to that. What was that? Did you just forget about it? Do you just have nothing left? You just leave it all on the table? I don't understand. There are so many good doctors out there. So many. And I've gotten the privilege to work among and I work among some of them. I've gotten the privilege to be treated by them. Not the same ones I work with, that would be a conflict of interest. But I've gotten the privilege to be treated by some of the best doctors that I've gotten the privilege to know. And, I was best friends with, doctors' kids, and I got to see how much they cared about their patients and how much they stressed over bringing the best results and the best treatment that they could to their patients. They would come home, just sacked with just thinking about the next day and being at their best for their patients and worrying about what insurance would change into, how insurance would affect their patients, and how government regulations changing might, affect their patients as well. And I think the Bay Flakes here, I think she agrees that, she doesn't care. These things are, fortunately, she's a cat. Vets are a thing of their own. But anyway, I don't understand why a doctor who turns congressman, or why anybody who represents the working poor and the working middle class would try to craft a bill that takes away things like medical expenses as deductions on taxes. But you know what they do? You know what they're trying to add in this tax bill is things you could deduct on your taxes? Gambling losses. Look it up. That's a thing you can deduct now on the little postcard. That's a thing you can deduct. Gambling losses. If you lose tons of money on slots and blackjack tables and lottery tickets, you can deduct that. That's okay. Yeah, that's totally deductible now under their tax bill. You can deduct that crap, but not medical expenses. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. Like I said, I'm not here to promote explicitly Democratic policies, Republican policies, liberal, conservative policies, whatever. I'm not here to promote any specific politician, but I am here to say that tax bill is a steaming pile of crap. And I just can't believe that anybody, physician turned congressman, physician turned congresswoman, I don't care. I can't believe that anybody would support something like that. And you, whoever you are, the viewer, you deserve to know that these people are trying to rob you. And they're trying to blindside you. And whatever they tell you about this tax bill on any interview, on radio, on internet, on national TV, local TV, I don't care what it is, on any media platform, whatever these Republicans are telling you in support of this bill, they are lying to you. And they're trying to rob you. And it's wrong. And they deserve to be voted out. Because this one is just a sin. And again, to whatever religion you may subscribe to, whatever God you may follow, or whatever God you may choose not to follow. If any God you choose not to follow. This is absolutely categorically a sin, and they deserve nothing less than your vote against them. Vote for anybody else. I don't care who it is, but these people who are currently supporting this bill deserve to be voted out because they are trying to harm you. They are actively trying to harm you, and it's wrong. And so now to try to end this on a happier note, I've got to try to find something, right? There's always something happy out there, and I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find it now. Boy, I was trying to itemize all the things in this episode. Now I forgot to find an item at the end for happiness. Happy note. Bay Flakes, what's happy? Flakes, what's happy? She's got nothing. I know what's good. Movies are good. There's what's good. I'm going to tell you what's good. Movies are good. Cinema is kicking butt right now. Go out there. Movies are good for your health. I'm telling you, distractions have always been good for the American psyche. Right now, the last thing I went to go see was Jigsaw, And if you're a horror fan, treat yourself. Jigsaw was great. I really enjoyed it. Now, of course, there are some things in Jigsaw, if you nitpick at a movie, if you're one of those people who nitpicks, there's plenty to nitpick. And enjoy yourself just nitpicking because there's stuff in there to nitpick at. But it was fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. It was just so much fun to watch it. And I was glued. I was riveted, and it was everything that I needed in a bag of peanuts. It was so wonderful. And I'm hearing wonderful things about Thor Ragnarok. I have plans to go see it with friends next weekend. My fiance was like, hey, I've got, this couple that wants to go see it, and this couple wants to go see it too next weekend. And I said, well, why not this weekend? And she was like, oh, well, this weekend's rent weekend. Everybody's got to pay rents. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that is a thing. Okay, next weekend it is. So next weekend, we're all going to go see Thor Ragnarok. It's going to be great. I've heard so many great things about it already, and I can't wait to go see it. You should go treat yourself to go see it. If you didn't have to worry about monetary expenses as a thing, then go see it and have yourself a blast. Also, there's the Murder on the Orient Express. I've heard that's the trailers look fantastic, and I'm so sold on that already. I've heard the first one was fantastic. I have not read the book, and if I was to read it now, I guess that I would be spoiling the movie for myself, so I'm going to hold off on reading the book for now. But I'm really excited to go watch that, and it's going to be great. I can already tell it's going to be great, so I'm really excited. And one other thing that I want to plug, and I want to, I'm going to state right now that I'm not sponsored, but I'm going to go grab something really quick, so hold the line. Love isn't always on time, but I'll be right back. Faith likes to entertain them. All right, kids, that didn't take too long, right? Okay. So I kept the book I kept the book cover in its sleeve, but I've been reading the book absolutely religiously, so I'll unite the two here in a sec, or maybe. But I've been reading that no is a four-letter word. How I Failed Spelling but Succeeded in Life, which is by Chris Jericho, and there's a foreword in there by Paul Stanley. And this book is so great. And I sprung for, wait for it, I sprung for the autographed copy, my friends. I sprung for signed by the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla himself. Ladies and gentlemen, signed by Chris Jericho. Ah! Yes, it is. And if you doubt it, my friends, this is the certificate of authenticity. Right here. Signed by Chris Jericho. Here it is again, his signature, my friends. This is it. This is his book, signed by him. I've been reading it. It's so good. This is so good. This book is great. It's great. And it's not just a regular standard self-help book. It really isn't. It's not a get-rich-fast book. It's not a this is how I succeeded and this is how you'll succeed too. This book is worth the read, man. It's fantastic. And, I mean, it's not like a life changer book, but it's a book that, you just gotta read it to get it. It's really just fantastic. You just gotta read it to get it. There are principles in here that, if you apply them to your life, it's not like, you have to do this exactly, and if you do this exactly, then exactly these things will happen for you, and you will wind up in exactly this place, and blah, 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 exactly these things will happen, and money will rain from the mountaintops, and these jobs will come to you. It's not that book at all. It's not. These are, principles that if you apply, these things to your life, to your mind, then, they work for your situation, and, your doors will open for you the way that, they're kind of supposed to, and you will go where you're supposed to. You know, things worked out for Chris Jericho the way that things worked out for Chris Jericho. The way things that only they could have worked out for Chris Jericho. And, you know, if you do things kind of the way that Chris Jericho learned that they worked in his life, as they are currently working in his life, you know, then things can sort of work for you in a unique way, and maybe one day you'll be all the better for your own unique experiences. So that's kind of where I want to leave you. If you want to, you know, pick up the book yourself sometime, it's available online. Look it up, Google it. You'll find it. I'm not sponsored by Chris Jericho by any means. Wish I was. That'd be amazing. Shout out to the Ayatollah of rock and roll himself. I am a huge fan. So much a huge fan of his wrestling, his music, and of his writing. But I just can't say enough good things about the guy. But honestly, I'm not sponsored in any way. I can only plug it because I believe in it. And if you want to pick up a copy, Google it. You'll find a way. And you know, if you want to find a way, you'll find it. And I encourage you to do it because you should. It's really a good read. I can't say enough great things about it. And that's where I want to leave you. This has been another lengthy installment of NutraNews. I thank you so much for watching if you have made it all the way through.